Hey, you're just waiting on the person to teach you technology that's struggling with technology. So
I
glad to
just
be
made a
here.
joke. I know, I just made a joke about it. It's hilarious. It's okay. It's Keely, it's Joan, it's Devin. They love you. It doesn't matter. We're good. We were BSing a little bit while we waited for you. So no,
Man, I
and I
was I had that new Riverside thing all worked out. I got it figured out yesterday. I was streaming through the Riverside platform on the Facebook.
oh, for Facebook, that's
I'm like,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, for these classes, the Zoom's working out just because there's not too many people in them. So
yeah.
it's just a little bit easier of a platform, I think, to share and to do things when we're teaching the class. So what we've done is we went ahead and sent them the support for the new workflows and tasks series that you did. And we kind of talked about that. And then we just kind of talked about some general tasks and some things on like what you would do, like virtual staging, Twilight, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
that's where
Okay,
we're at to take it
cool.
over, sir. And I'm going to post on Facebook just in case anybody else wants to hop on while
I
we're
did.
waiting.
I just pasted that link. I think
Oh,
Dave was
you
over
did?
there.
Okay.
Yeah, I just pasted that link. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So with this class, so is it more helpful to start off with where you, Devin, Keely, and Joan are at, or do we just want to start from the beginning?
I think it'd be helpful to just kind of walk through the general, like, here's all the settings, here's what we do here, right? Just kind of give that general overview, and then we can dive into like the deeper, like going into services, making sure they work the way you want and stuff. Does that
Okay,
work? Yeah.
perfect.
It
Yep,
is kind of a fluid class. So you guys ask questions. Yeah, Keely said yes. So you guys ask questions, put them in the chat. Lovey and I are here to just really help manage and help things. Oh, good. Look at all the people coming on from Facebook. I love it.
good.
So yes, anybody throw questions in there and then we'll tee them up to you, Todd. You just focus on teaching.
Perfect. Okay, and please do ask questions because it will help everyone and it helps us understand what is confusing. And so, because all this makes sense in my brain, but that's sometimes a scary place to be.
That's what I keep telling everybody. We're just trying to take a little bit of the Todd out of the system to make everything work well.
Yes, and we want to make sure this works for you all. So we're going to start from the top with task and workflow. This is when I say task, just to set this up so everybody understands, task begin after the job is completed. So this is the shoot is done, you have completed it in the photographer portal or in the admin panel, you have used the force completed button, and that's when tasks do begin. Okay, so a due date can only be after that time. Now, I will add a little caveat here. Tasks are actually created when the order is placed. The to-do date can't be after the shoot, but they're created when the order is placed. And the reason why this is cool is because your editors can see what's coming up. So think about your jobs for tomorrow. How many of your editors say, how many jobs do you have for tomorrow? They're never going to ask you that question again. They can go to their task manager, they can click ahead one day, and they can look at what is assigned to them for tomorrow. So I just wanted to make that designation because that can be confusing in the system. Let's start with right after the shoot. So you get home, you've got a card, and you need to get media from this thing into your computer, and you need to get it online. The way that we do that is through Dropbox, and Spiro does integrate with Dropbox. So we're going to head there now. We're going to go to Settings, Integrations, Dropbox Configuration. I'm going to go ahead and paste this into the chat. So if you're following along or if you come back to this, you have the link. This will take you to your Dropbox configuration. Now, if you have not configured Dropbox, it'll look a little bit different. In the upper right-hand corner or somewhere on here, there'll be a button, Add Dropbox. All you need to do is click Add Dropbox, and then a pop-up window will open up. It will look like Dropbox, and Dropbox will ask you to sign in and give us permission to create folders in your Dropbox account. Once that's done, you will get a window without these input boxes. You'll need to add these. And what you have the ability to do is to add what we call a static folder, which is just to hold media. It's just an organizer, or an auto import folder, which Spiro will keep an eye on that folder. And when any media is placed in there, i.e. from your editor, we will bring that from the folder back into Spiro automatically for you. This is the setup that we suggest. This is what we use at our company. We create 5 folders, one for the unedited photos, one for the unedited video, one for other media. This is helpful because, and especially and even if you're just a single photographer or if you have a team, but if you have taken media, say, of the master closet, and you're like, it's a good size closet, but it's messy. I'm not going to give it to the agent right away, but I'm going to take it because I'm here. If the agent calls the next day and says, hey, do you have that master closet? You need those files online in the cloud because you need to ping your editor and say, hey, can you edit this photo for me? So we create an other media, and we always tell our photographers, throw anything in there that we might need. We need it in the cloud because the next day you are on the road and that card from Tuesday is sitting on your desk. We have 5 cards because we only shoot 5 days of the week. But I would suggest you buy one memory card for every day of the week, and you only use Monday's card on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on Wednesday. And you cycle through your cards and you don't overwrite anything closer than 7 days. Other media is where we throw everything that might get edited. And then finally, we create the final or the completed folders. We create a folder for photos, and we create a folder for video. 2 more quick things to note here. You can create whatever folders you want. Just make sure it works for you. You don't have to take our strategy. If you want these to show up in order, if your OCD wants to be compliant like my OCD, give them a sequence number. Otherwise, Dropbox will show them alphabetically, and you'll be like, wait a minute, why is it out of order? Put a sequence number and you'll be happy. The hyphen is added automatically when you put a space in here, and that's just so you don't have a space in a folder name. All right, so if you mirror this, you're gonna be good to go, and then anytime, click save for that, and anytime you complete a job, we will create that folder structure. A question I get asked pretty often, and when people are setting this up, is they go set it up and they go look at Dropbox, and like, I don't have any job folders. You're not gonna have any folders until you actually complete something, so that's normal. Okay, so that is Dropbox. While we're here, I'm also going to hit on video hosting. So there's 2 different ways you can host videos in the system. The first one is through Vimeo. The second is through Dropbox. You can choose whichever one you like. If you use Dropbox, you need to be aware of the size of the final video file. We can give you documentation for what to have your editors export in. We've had great success with Dropbox. It's one less subscription for you, and it keeps it easy for everyone else. So you can choose what you want there, and that is in the video hosting platform. So now you have Dropbox set up, and Spiro will automatically create folder structures for you, and where you can organize your media. Again, you're going to put your card in the computer and you're going to drag into those folders, and then through these tasks that we're going to create together here in a minute, those folders will automatically be shared with an editor who has a task. So you're no longer going to have to send a Dropbox link to an editor. You're no longer going to have to share a folder. It's all going to be done automatically. Okay, I'm going to pause there. Any questions? I bring up chat too. Did I miss anything? Okay, good.
No, you're good.
Okay.
No, I think the only question I think I will propose is just like, if say somebody's using Vimeo and things are working great, is there a huge reason to switch other than just the subscription fee, right? That's kind of the only reason, right, Todd?
Right.
Just remove that.
Yeah, Vimeo is, if you're happy with Vimeo and it's all working and you're on a plan that you're happy with, just stick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Yep.
reason to switch over.
Okay.
Good question.
Anybody else have any other questions? Raise hands or throw it in the chat.
Okay, great. Next, we're going to add your editor. So go to Team Editors. And again, I'll give the link in the chat here if you want to go directly to that page. And here's where you're going to add an editor. You're going to simply click Add Editor. An editor has a first and a last name that is required, and an email address is required. So put their information in there, and then you can click save. I'm going to tell you what else is in here just because we're going to cover everything. If you want to put a picture of them or if you want to put something representative of them, you can. That will show up where you see their name. Also, one other thing is if your editor uses a different email address for their Dropbox account, you can enter that in here. That is the email address we will share the Dropbox folder with. Okay, so if they're using two different email addresses, typically the way you find that out is you let the system send it and they go, hey, I never got, or this invite or I couldn't sign in for this invite. I didn't have permission. Well, that's because you use a different email address and then you just put that alternate email address in there. So once you add an editor in, they will get an email once you click save, and editors have access to what we call the editor portal. And when they get an email, they'll sign in. It's editors. You don't need to know this. I can show you how you can see it in a second, but this is the editor portal. I'm going to sign in as my test editor, Eddie, here. So they will sign in and they will see the task manager, and they have a My Profile section here where they can just modify those things. The way that you can see this without signing in as them is you also have a task manager. So you can click task manager. If you ever want to see what's assigned to your editor, you can click task manager and just hit the assignee here, Eddie, check mark their name here, and this will be the same thing they see. So if they're ever saying, a lot of times I get editors who say, I have users who say, hey, my editor doesn't see their jobs that I've done today. And that is because the due date is for tomorrow. So if they go to their task manager, the task manager is showing everything due for today. They need to go to tomorrow to see those tasks. So that's a common thing I see there. Okay, great. So you have your editor in the system. We've got Dropbox set up. Now we're going to go and build really the nuts and bolts of task, and that is in settings, task builder. So let me give you this link in chat here. Okay, task builders, we're going to do this all together. I'm going to do this, one by one. We're going to create a new one. The most common task that we all will have is somebody needs to edit the photos. So I'm going to call this edit HDR photos. You can name it whatever you want. This is just what it shows up in your system. I'm probably going to have to put a 2 after this because I already have many of them. The task type, just the short answer here is select job. Okay. This is basically saying if this task is on a order more than once because it's attached to more than one service, do I duplicate it? So the example here is if you sell drone photos and 35 HDR images, you need an editor to edit drone photos and you need an editor to edit 35 images. That's the same editor, right? We don't need 2 tasks that say edit photos.
Hey, Todd.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to stop you because Keely has a really good question, and we deal with this a lot. He said, we use a company for our editing photos.
Okay.
They have a form that they have to use to book. Like we get Pixel Mob a lot, right?
Yeah.
And they have this form. So he wanted to know, should he just skip over this process with the Dropbox, or how should they work best?
So we use a company for editing for our photos. Should we just skip over this process since we use the order form to book the order and just leave the Spiro Dropbox links as their final upload? So Keely, we use Dropbox. Should we just skip over the task flow? Okay, so Keely, are you just sharing your Dropbox folders, the root folder with your editors?
Directly. Yeah, that's what I suggest to Pixel Mob. Just share that root folder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I would skip over this create the edit HDR photos. Now you still might want to create a QC task where you look over those or somebody on your team looks over those in delivery, But okay, cool. But yeah, if what you have is working now and they're not going to log in, then just keep it this way or keep it that way, excuse me. Good question.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Mahalo. I love
Yeah,
Keely. We need to go visit. I really think so, Todd. Let's go.
I know. I agree. I'm jealous of where she's at.
You said lava. Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna go back to so 99% of everything is gonna be a job because we only want it once per job. The same editor is gonna edit the ground photos and the aerial photos. Okay, let's create a category. So if you haven't done this, you need to create a category. This is how we group like things together. Let's scroll down and click add new. Let's create a category that's called photo editing. And then you can click an icon, search for camera or photo, whatever you want. Click that, then click create category.
And that's just to sort your guys' task in the workflow task manager, guys. So this is really just for knowledge and to sort things and easily get to things, right, Todd?
Yes, you'll be able to see the number of tasks inside this category from the task manager. So once you create it, click on it. So this is going to go in photo editing. Here is where you're going to add task instructions. So, we can say edit the HDR images. What do you want them to do? Replace TV screens, skies, etc. Whatever you want to do, you can put it in here. Tell them what you want them to do in here. They're going to get this with every task. And you can always edit this in the future, but you can put whatever you want here for instructions to your editors. Okay, the next box is system task option. We're going to skip for now. I'll explain it when we use it in the example of the QC and delivery. So I'm going to skip over that now. Due date. Okay, two things to explain here. You have a couple of options. This is due date in relation to the shoot date or the date of the shoot. So many of us, we deliver the next day, so it's going to be one day after. Now, some of us differ here. When do we want our editing to be done? The question here is, if you do a shoot on Friday, do you want your editor to work on Saturday and deliver it back to Saturday because you're going to deliver it on Saturday to your client? Okay, if you do, you want the last option here. It's considering all days of the week, Sunday through Saturday. If you're like Todd, on Friday shoots, I deliver on Monday. I just work on a weekday basis. You're going to want the third option here, Monday through Friday. So whatever your preference is, whatever you're doing now, go ahead and select it. This is probably the most common, that if you do a Friday shoot, your editors edit on Saturday and you get it back. So I'll select that for this example. Select the days after the shoot. This is usually one day for all of us. Some of you might have a 2-day delivery on some higher end video products or more than that, but select the days after. And then the time. This is in relation to your time. So what time do you want your editor to see that this is due? One thing to note is your clients don't see this due date. So it won't affect your clients. Your clients don't know anything about this. A pretty common one here is a lot of people say, hey, 7 or 8 a.m. my time, I want my editors to have this photo editing done. But select what's appropriate for you.
We have a good question from Connor.
Yes.
So I'll read it out loud, but you read it with me. Quick question. I find when a photo and video are ordered together, my photo editor will always complete very early in the morning and video comes in around noon. It only enables my QC task for VA once everything is complete. Is there a better way to make this more linear? He's tried renumbering. We had this actually come up in the last week with the renumbering and the sequencing. So yeah. I think this is a great question, Connor.
Yeah, this is Connor. Shan, I'm going to get this one in 1 minute when we build the QC task. So I'll go over the example of what we need to build here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. Yep. Great. Okay, so here's the due date. We have that all set. One option here, and I'll give you the use case of why this was created. You have a toggle that says I need to define a different due date if a certain service is ordered. This is rush. So at our company, we offer a rush delivery. We charge for it. And I can say, I need to modify this due date if the service of rush, this is a test system. I don't know if I have rush in here. Oh, I do. If the service of rush is ordered, I really want my due date to be, and what I would select is I would say 1 day after, but I would put it before 7 a.m. So your editors see that that's due first. Okay, does that make sense? That's going to affect your delivery. You're definitely going to want to choose that because you need to see that deliveries at 9 a.m. as opposed to, 5 p.m. But that's what that toggle is there for. If you're like, hey, I don't do it, just leave it off. No problem.
We have a question on why not immediately.
Yes, great question. So immediately means that it's due today because due date is relation to the shoot date. And what that's going to do is when you go to the task manager, your task manager for today is going to continue to add jobs and it's going to screw you up because your task manager is your checklist of to-do items and it's not really it's not really due immediately today. Just make it after midnight. So if you want to make it super early, put 1 day after at like 12:01 a.m. And then that way you can get to your task manager and you can see, hey, I have 0 things left to do, and then everything's done. That's a good question. Okay, moving down to replaces. I'll quickly explain this one. If you have 2 tiers of editing, standard and luxury, this is where you would say, I want to replace standard editing with luxury editing. This is the way the system can get rid of standard editing and only do luxury. Because if your client orders luxury editing, there's no reason to pay for standard and luxury. Okay, assign to. Here's where we say 1 user. We go down, select the user. There is your editor, Eddie. And you can now save, click create that task, and you will see it in your list on the left-hand menu.
Are you going to go over queue or do you want to wait?
I will cover a queue very quickly. So this is down here. Shannon's referring to who do I assign it to? A queue of users. A queue of users is just a group of users, and it means that I use 2 or 3 different editing teams, and they all have different quotas that they can handle. You can set up your queue, an assignment queue, and then you can select them. I have an example in here to show you. Here's where we say Eddie, the editor, gets the first, or this is on round robin. Let's put him to priority. Here's where I can say Eddie, the editor, gets the first 10 jobs, and he works these days of the week. And then down here, I have user 2, who is maybe Bob. Bob gets the next jobs. But this is if you're using 2 editing teams, you can set this up in here and you can say, give the first X amount of jobs to the editing team 1, and then give the rest of the jobs to editing team 2. So if you have specific questions about this, let me know. There's not a lot of people that use this. We use this at WOW. We use 2 editing teams. We know their quota. We know the days of the week that they work. But this is in here. If you want to be fair to 2 different editors, use round robin. And round robin means editor A gets the first job, editor B gets the second job. A gets the third, so on and so forth.
Here's the great question I get all the time.
Okay.
Well, I don't want the editors to know I use 2 editors. Maybe they're kind of, maybe they're trying somebody out too. So if it's round robin and only the editor is assigned to the task, do they see that another editor is getting jobs in the task manager?
This is a great question. And so the answer is no, but you actually do want your editors to know you're trying someone else.
Totally agree. Yeah.
I mean, it's competition, right? Like what happens when
Yes.
so we all do it. You Google search your top agent and you're like, are those my photos? I haven't done this. We still do it. It's like, did we do like, no, we just edit better now. Like she's still using us.
Yeah.
But it's good. Competition's good. Like let your editors know,
Okay.
be vocal to your editors about it.
That's right.
But no, your editors don't see other editors.
Yeah, I cannot stress enough, and I know we talk about this a lot. More communication. Yes, the system will solve things for you, but the more communication you have with your editors, the better, right? You've learned this, and I've watched you learn this over years of working with these guys.
For sure. Okay, great. Let's go back to Task Builder and let's build your quality check and deliver. Now, if you are building this with me, click Create New. I'm going to open up an already created one and I'll just show you what to create. So again, give it a name, QC, quality check, and deliver. Again, it's going to be a job type. Create a new category. I put this in QC. Give it task instructions, so look over all images, make any adjustments as needed, contact the editor if you need to re-edit. Okay, here's a new thing. So after task instructions, we're going to use a system task. We're going to use the task of sending or requiring a delivery email to be sent. This means that once the QC check is done, you will go to complete this task and the system knows that a delivery email has to be sent. That's the way we get things done. That's the way the client gets the media. So in this drop down, select requires delivery email. And then in this drop down here, click the Spiro default. Okay, that'll be the default email. I'll take 2 seconds here. And you can change this email template if you want. That's under settings, email templates. Look for the client delivery email. You can put all your verbiage in there, whatever emojis you like. You can put whatever you want in there if you want to modify that template. Okay, cool. That's how we tell Spiro that it needs to send an email to complete this task. Okay, the next thing is we have due date. So again, choose the due date, make it after the time that you said editing was due. There's that. And then scrolling down here, select one user and then who is going to quality check. Maybe this is you, maybe this is your VA, and select them from there. Again, you can use a queue of users in there if you want, but you can use either option and then click save. Okay, so now we have 2 steps. I'm gonna go back to Connor's question real quick because Connor, let me set this up real quick. I believe the way he's doing it is, and it's the same way we do it, but one editor edits photos and a different editor edits video. Typically video is a little bit behind, and there's a 2-stage kind of quality check. So if you say, like if you have a QC task that's quality check all media, you're gonna have to wait until the video's done to look at all the media because all of the media is photos and video. If you want to do a QC check on each individual service, I would create 2 separate tasks, QC photos, QC video. Keep the delivery out of it. We can create a delivery task that sends automatically after this. So create 2 separate QC tasks and attach those on the service of photos and video. Then that way, as soon as photo editing's done, your quality check photos task is active. And then once your video is done, is completed, the quality check video will be active. So that's the way we handle that 2-stage quality check. Okay, great. So moving forward here, let's go to how do we get these to work now, right? So we have these steps. We've got people assigned to it. We've got Dropbox created. Let's just automate it. Okay, so if you just wait and Spiro like do your thing, it's not gonna do anything. So this is one point where it's like all you've done in Task Builder is you've just created building blocks. We need to go do something with them. And where we need to go is into your shopping cart.
Hey, I'm gonna bug real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Connor just said, in an entirely separate delivery task, you're saying to
Yes. Yeah. So Connor, I'll send that to you. I think we have it set up in the support guide of how we do that.
We can find it real quick and put it in the chat, Todd.
Yeah. Okay. We'll put it in there. Yeah. And that sends automatically. So once both QC steps are done, you can have a system task that triggers automatically. So you won't have to click send email. As soon as you complete QC on both of those, the next thing will trigger, the system will automatically send that email for you. Okay, cool. So let's go to shopping cart services. And I will paste that in the chat here. Okay, so we have a task that is edit photos, and we've created quality check photos and deliver. So what we have to do now is we have to find all of your services that require those steps to be done. Okay, so find all your photography related. So find your photos, whatever it's called, 25, 50, HDR, whatever it is. Find your service and scroll down. About halfway down, you'll see a task section. Now let me clear these out. You'll have it be blank right now. And all you need to do is you need to add a task. Go ahead and find your edit HDR photos and check mark your QC and deliver. Click apply. Make sure they're in the correct order. Pending what you name them, it might come in a different order. This does because it's alphabetical, E then Q. Okay, but you might need to drag them in order. And then scroll down and click save. What this does is this says every time you sell this service, these tasks need to be generated, and it will do that automatically. Okay, a couple things to note here. Go back through all of your services and make sure anything that needs photo editing has these two tasks on it. Also, like community photos. If you're doing community photos, that has photos that need edited. Remember, those tasks won't be in there multiple times because we made it a job level service. So you're not creating more crud for yourself. You're actually just, if you ever sell community photos with a video and not a stock photo package, then you'll need photo editing. Also drone, put it on your drone photography because somebody needs to edit those photos. So your goal would be to go through your entire services list and make sure that edit photos is 1 and QC and deliver is 2. Now you've actually kind of engaged what task will do. So now what's going to happen, the next time you have an order placed, those tasks will get created. And if you're saying, hey, Todd, I have orders right now that I would like to see the task on, we do have a button for you that you can force jobs to have those tasks right away. I will show you where that's at. If you go to settings, task builder, this little button in the upper right hand corner, refresh orders. What this will do, take it with the default, the first 2 toggled on, click proceed. And what this is going to do, it's going to look for any orders in your system already placed that have those services, and it's going to create those tasks. All right. So now let's pretend that you have just completed a job. Okay, so you've completed a job that has one of those photography services on it. And we're going to go there. We're going to go to listings. I'm going to take my latest listing. And one cool thing that you will notice is now in this column on the listings page, you will see percentages here. This is what shows tasks. So quickly I can click in here and I can see that there are tasks on this job. Let me see if I can just get one that only has photo QC and deliver on it. These all have multiple on it. Okay, well, it'll be the same idea. It'll have a few more tasks on there. That will be your next to-do list, is to create more tasks than photo editing. You want video editing, you want like something that has to do with floor plan, Zillow 3D, all that. But I'm gonna click into a property website. Now, one thing is you'll notice that you have a to-do list at the top. So the neat thing is all of this has been created for you automatically. So let's start from the top. The first thing we did with this in this webinar today is we created a Dropbox folder structure. We integrated your Dropbox. You now will have a Dropbox button up here. This is where you can go directly to that folder path that we created. So you can click on it here, and for some reason Dropbox loads insanely slow on my computer. I have no clue, but we're gonna let it load here.
It's because if it's your WoW Dropbox account, it's huge.
Yeah, it is. I'm embarrassed to say how big this Dropbox folder is.
Don't be embarrassed. That's good stuff. That's 20 years of hard work, sir.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, cool. So here it is here. And we see that folder structure. Now, this isn't a test system, so somebody was messing with the folder structure when this job was completed. But you should see 5 folders here, and they would all be in there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good question from Connor, really quick. Does every shooter have their own Dropbox? He only has one other photographer, so they share. but curious on how to scale. We get this question a lot, Todd.
Yes, this is a great question. So at WOW, we tell everyone when we onboard them that they need to have a Dropbox account, not the free one. They need to at least have the $9.95 a month or whatever it is. So that's what we tell them. However, we have many users, much like yourself, Connor, where it's like you and maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 others. And what we see other users doing is we just have other users or those owners giving the login to Dropbox. So I know a lot of people are taking up Dropbox accounts just for this, to store their media in there. If you store something personal on Dropbox, this kind of goes without saying, like, don't give your Dropbox account password to someone who you don't want those personal items to. So completely fine to give your photographer access to your Dropbox account so they can have those folders if you don't want them to purchase a Dropbox account. It is just easier to be like, hey, you need to have a Dropbox account. A lot of people have it. It's $10 a month. So that's the easiest thing. But if people kind of balk at that, which they shouldn't, but they do, then you can let them share yours. Cool. So going back to the property website, you'll have that Dropbox button. That's going to go to your folder structure that you created. Also, while I'm here, you'll notice that when we create our folders, we create them in an intelligent way as to where we'll create them underneath this will be your tenant short code. It'll say Spiro Uploads, and then you'll have a folder for this year. Inside that folder, you're going to have in Q1, you'll have Q1, then you'll have 2, Q3, Q4. So we keep them separated by the quarters of the year. Going into Q1, here's where you'll have all of your photographers. The neat thing about this is this folder has been shared automatically with those photographers. You can see right here, that little icon there means it's shared with someone. If I click share here, it'll show who it's shared to. Shows somewhere. I click into the folder, it's going to Andy folder. Here is where I can see who it's shared to. So the neat thing about this is once you have this set up, Spiro will share whatever folder that person needs, whether it's a photographer or an editor or an admin, it shares it with them. So here it is. I am on the folder because I'm the owner of the account, and here is Andy Photographer. He's already been shared this folder, so he has access to it. Then inside his folder for this quarter, you will see a job folder for every job he completes. And then inside of that is the folder structure that you've defined. So that is a nice thing and a time saver that you're no longer going to have to create that. Okay, so let's talk about, and I'll start to wrap up here quickly, and then I'll take a few questions before we end.
We have it. Connor has kind of task sequence questions. If we go back up in the chat a little bit, Todd, he has something. So just hit it before you end.
Okay, before I go. All right, let me read this real quick. Okay. All right, so what's going to happen now is these tasks have been created. So there's our edit photos, there's our QC and deliver, okay? And an email has already been sent to your editor. It lets them know there's a task. We also have shared that Dropbox folder with them. So what your editors, the ideal way that your editor works is your editor uses the editor portal and they log into Spiro and they see this task due. Okay, let's go over to the task manager. Again, let's go to Eddie. Hit apply. And here are all the items that are due for Eddie. Now, you're just going to have one. It's a little convoluted. There's a lot in here because it's just a test system. So here is a to-do item for Eddie. What Eddie's going to do when he has a to-do item, when he logs in, one thing, we put a quick link to Dropbox for him. So if he logs in, he can just go straight to this Dropbox folder. So he can click here. He can quickly go to the raw photo folder and he can download all the media that you've uploaded. Then he can go do his editing. Okay. Also, he has access to the property website editor. So he should click into that property website editor. he will just see his task in here. So here's edit photos. He will not see all of the other tasks. So you will see them. We're seeing them now because I'm an admin, but when Eddie logs in, he won't see this task and he won't see that task. Eddie should click play to begin his task to let you know he's working on his task. Then he can go do all of his editing. When Eddie's done, Eddie should go back to that Dropbox folder and he should put them in the final photos folder. And again, you'll have it. We set it up there. He drags them in here. And then when he's done with that, he lets them upload the Dropbox. He can come back and he can check mark that he has finished his editing task. Okay, now your editor is done with that task. What's going to happen? Two things. One, Spiro will notice that there are images in that 04 final photos folder that we all created. So Spiro will begin to bring those into the gallery in here. Also, the next thing that it will do is it will activate your quality check QC and deliver task. So you then will see that it can be, so I'm going to refresh here. This is, I will then be able to begin this task. And this is a little bit out of whack, but in your system, it will flow through correctly because I've got some weird stuff in here. But you will be able to do the QC check. All right. So let's go through that process now. Let's pretend you want to do a QC check. So I'm going to sort in my photography. So here's what needs. There's nothing in there. Maybe it's in here. All right, so let's find a QC task. Oh, there's no QC task in there because it's for Eddie the editor, and Eddie's not assigned the QC task. Okay, my brain's working again. Here we go, we're back. Let's just go to QC workflow. Okay, here's a task that needs quality checked here, and it's got a play button, which means I can work on it. I'm going to go to the property website editor. I'm going to scroll down to the gallery. You will have images in here because Eddie has put them into that Dropbox folder. Now what you can do is you can quality check right from this page, all right? So pause, I'm sorry, I should have set this up a little bit better for y'all. Let me go to a page that has images. Here is, which one? This one has quite a few. All right, I'm gonna go down to the gallery and I'm gonna begin.
How did that turn on?
Yeah, this is a goofy thing right now. There's a video on here and it's auto playing and it collapsed.
So yeah.
That we're fixing that right now. That's annoying. We won't talk about that. Okay, so gallery. So now we want to quality check the images. All right, I go to 2 because I got older eyes, 2 columns. I scroll down and I make sure that these look okay. Boom, 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 boom. If I want to see it bigger, I click on it. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Good. If I want to download anything, I click the little download arrow. That means I'm probably going to fix it locally. I'm going to put it in the Photoshop. I'm going to dodge burn, light and cool, add contrast. Okay, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. Once I get to the bottom, I know I've probably downloaded everything that I want to fix. I would open those up in Photoshop. I'd fix them real quick. I click the upload button. I go to my downloads. Here's my downloads. There's that photo that I'm going to put back in there. I upload that photo back into the gallery. And the cool thing is as long as I don't change the file name, Spiro will get rid of the old photo and put this in its place. And then once this is done, I know I've quality checked, I've made any adjustments I need to, and then I can come back up and I can complete my task. Once I complete the task, let me finish. Okay, so here's the edit photos. Let me get this QC and deliver active here. So here is where, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit out of order today. I should have just done this. I should have wiped this whole system and we would have done this clean. I failed to mention, sorry, I'm a little fragmented here, but before you QC or before you have your VA QC, have them hit the play button. And what that does is that starts a timer. And then the cool thing about knowing how long each job takes to QC is you can begin to pinpoint, like, are there editing problems? Is this taking too long to look over? So hit the play button, then go through that process of looking at the gallery, making any adjustments, uploading back in, and then come back up here and hit the check mark button. So when you do that, remember we said that this task required a system task option that was send a delivery email. So the system is saying, hey, you need to send a delivery email, which is great. It saves us the step of actually clicking that button. I can scroll down, I can click the send email and complete the task. So now what I've done is I've sent the email, I've completed the task, my timer has stopped. This is delivery email sent, and then I have that task all completed. So that is kind of the flow of working through those two tasks and workflow. Let me scroll back up to Connor's question.
Yeah, and then I'm sorry, I might have missed it. Did you just go over how to reassign a job to somebody in case like you need to reassign it to a different editor or
Oh no,
person?
I can do that real quickly.
Yeah, just real quick. It was
Yeah,
kind of fast. So
if you ever need to reassign, just go to your task manager and then say I've got an editor that's on vacation coming up and they can't work March 5th. Go to March 5th and find them on here, which means they can't work. And here's Eddie. Eddie can't actually edit. Click the pencil icon. And then I'm just going to assign that back to myself, Bob, and click save. That way it's going off of Eddie's list and it's going on Bob's list, and we know that that reassignment has happened.
perfect. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Okay, cool. I'm scrolling back up here. Okay, Connor asked for sequence number. Okay, so for task ordering numbers, would you do 1 edit photos, 2 QC photos, 3 edit? Okay, so, and guys, I'm just going to answer Connor's question just for Connor because it's a little more in depth. Remember, he's doing that 2-stage QC. And sequence number becomes important. I'm not going to cover it right now because it comes confusing really quickly. Connor, make edit photos 1, edit video 1, QC photos 2, QC video 2, and then delivery 3. That way, editing photos and editing video can happen at once. Then once those are done, somebody needs to QC, and then once step 2 is done, step 3 can happen. I know that made sense to no one else, and hopefully it made sense to you, Connor. But that's what we do. One on both editings, 2 on both QCs, and 3 on delivery.
He said got it cool. So I
Okay,
think we are solid.
perfect.
Is there a way to David asked, is there a way to query an order to see if an editor is already in the Spiro system? I'm not sure I understand. Dave, you want to unmute and just ask your question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, you can, I know a number of photographers share editors. Is there a way to find out if the editor is already in the system, or as opposed you would have to go through the process of explain the system and setting them up, or if they're already in the system working with another photographer? Does that make sense?
That does make
No.
sense. That's kind of the short answer is no, but that's very interesting. That it makes me think like, do we, like if we put that out there,
Like
then
a queue of editors that they could pick.
yeah,
Yeah.
that use and endorse Spiro. Spiro certified.
They're
There you go, Devin.
certified.
Yeah,
Well, we're starting some VA training and some of that referral stuff, guys. We are working on that. It's a big project, so hang in there with us. But we are working on a VA solution for you guys where we train them in Spiro.
yeah.
So that
I
is coming, but that is kind of an interesting concept, Todd.
It is. Let me think about that one, Dave. Maybe a good place to post is in the Spiro Facebook group and just say, hey, anyone want to share an editor that's working in Spiro already? Creo will work in Spiro. Just as a disclaimer, Creo is an editing company that I own a portion of. And this is a terrible tease because I can't tell you right now, but I do think I have an AI solution for you all that's
Oh, come on. All right. Everybody got to find out in here. You guys are
that's
lucky.
gonna replace your human editors very soon. So
It's
we've been looking
coming.
at them. Yeah, it's coming soon. So
There.
we'll let you guys know soon. I won't leave the cliffhanger too long. Actually, that listing that I showed you that we looked at, those were all AI generated. They were
AI.
done in like 20 minutes, and the window pulls and everything were done. So we
Imagine
will.
charging same day delivery, y'all.
Yeah, and standard versus luxury. Yeah, and honestly, they're really good edits to begin with.
Yeah.
These might be your luxury edits too.
Yeah. The window pulls are the most amazing thing I've seen, right? Because that's been the issue is the window pulls. And dude, we met this 22-year-old in Vegas. Hey, here's a reason. Let's just plug this, Todd. It's a weird way, but why do we go to conferences? Why do we spend money? Why do we go to this stuff? Why do we get around a bunch of photographers and a bunch of people? It is
Oh,
to
that music again. Sorry.
there it is. We do this to meet people that could eventually potentially change our businesses and our life and get in a group think situation. And in Vegas, we met this amazing kid. I'm going to call him a kid because he's 22 years old. I think the guy could be a rocket scientist. He's really intelligent. He's focused on multiple businesses. Like it actually gives me a lot of hope for the future. Okay. All of us that are over the age of 45, like there's some good young ones coming up. And this is his project. And we started working with him. And these images, I am amazed. Like some of them need a little, but most often they're coming out of the system great. And in QC, you can fix anything quickly. So anything wrong I said there, Todd? Like
No, we're vetting it a little bit more because we want to make sure when we say something like we're using it, we're happy with it. But I mean, to my eye, these are pretty good images.
well,
These are
another great thing to say. Todd, obviously with 20 years in the business, but he learned a long time ago, like if the edits are like 85% there, right? Like 85%, like send them off. Often, I think some of us in the creative space can try to be perfectionist, and then we just spend too much time where the agent just they might be fine. They might be like, you know what, these are great. I'm not worried about it. Like luxury edits, high price properties, different. But like it's okay to send it and when it's pretty close, right?
mhm. Yeah, give yourself a chance to show how good your customer service is and fix a problem every once in a while.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but that is coming soon. So, we just want to vet it a little bit more for you guys before we endorse it.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? You can come off mute, ask.
I'm just the photo stuff's great. I'm kind of on the video side.
Mm-hmm.
Like using Merge Fleet and a video editor at the
Okay.
same time. Like, so your videos are dropping it into the Dropbox for you? Because right now, like I'm going through that whole step of they're finishing, then I'm downloading and uploading.
Yeah, so our editor, so we use both as well. So we use the Merge Fleet for most of our videos, but we do have editors that are doing like our agent on camera, some of our reels and things like that. And they're just putting it right back in that Dropbox folder, and then just Spiro is syncing it back in.
Okay. All right. That's kind of my next step is figuring out how to integrate the video part of it.
Yeah.
And you'll have separate tasks, right? You'll have your Merge Fleet task that you specifically set up for Merge Fleet and attach that to whatever video service is Merge Fleet. And then if you have that higher, and again, remember, if it's a service that needs something done, that's a task. And then that needs to be assigned to that service. So your other video editing, so that's what Todd does in his system. He's got I don't know if you call it AHA video editing, so that's the product. And then those go to those channels and those guys get the Dropbox and they can drop it back in.
Yeah, so just you'll have two separate tasks. One calls the Merge Fleet, and one just is assigned to your other editor.
Okay.
Kenny, so that's a good question on do we get Kenny, do we get that assist? Do we get, what do they call it? Just rep editing, rep
Yeah,
video
rep editing.
editing?
Yeah,
That's what I
Yeah.
use. Yeah.
yeah.
Do we create a way to sync better with them, Todd?
We do. I was just texting back and forth with Kenny today. I'm gonna call him tomorrow. I'm in the car for a little bit, so I'll see what we can do to make this a little more streamlined.
Mhm. That'd be great.
Cool.
Connor said mileage report updated swiftly. Yep, you weren't alone
Yeah.
on that mileage
Yeah,
report.
that's all fixed now. So, well, great. Well, thank you all for jumping on. A couple resources to leave you with. We'll continue to do these classes. We'll continue to do them live. We love being on here with you. Don't feel obligated to get on them with us, but if there's any value, come in, raise the hand, ask a question.
Mhm.
I have taken screenshots of all of our tasks in WoW, and I'm going to paste
Nice.
the link to those in the chat. Let's define the.
And I was looking for the double QC, the two. Is it just the QC and delivery process? I am struggling to find just that specific article.
Let me see if I screenshotted it in my.
Okay, thanks. I'm sorry. I was
No,
digging.
no, you increase. It's like, what did I name the thing?
That I know. Don't like I do that to myself. And like I think I name a file like I'll remember that.
Oh, I know. And I always, it's the same one for me always. And I can never find it. Like, why don't you just rename it to what you search for every single time, Todd?
Or like put it in my bookmarks. That might even be beneficial.
That's too easy.
Too easy.
All right, I'm
I
drawing a
swear I
blank
feel
here.
like I have dementia. I hate to say that, but I'm like, what is happening?
Oh, I found it. Here it is.
Oh,
Okay.
and it might be something I saw. It just wasn't maybe named clearly, so I didn't.
So in that article, so that's going to kill two birds with one stone. One, that is a screenshot of every task that we use. That's directly from our system. And two, Shannon, that actually has in Connor, that actually shows you our processing for video and photos, how we have those in
Okay.
two-step processes.
Good.
So, all right. If you need us in the meantime, the pink chat bubble is probably the best way to get a hold of us. If you need me or Shannon, you're welcome to ask for us. Say, hey, can you send this to Todd? Can you send this to Shannon? I will look at it. If you need help now, just don't ask for me because I don't want to be the one to drop the ball. If the team can help you, great. Or if you're like, hey, just let Todd look at it. Give me a few days. I'll be happy to do it. You will hear back from me. So feel free to use that. I'm here for you guys. Shannon's here for you guys. We want to make sure that we can help. And that pink chat bubble it allows us to see your system a little bit easier and get in and to look at what it is. So that article guide in there takes a screenshot. Don't assume everything that we do at WoW is going to work for you, but just take it as inspiration. And then use the pink chat bubble around that.
Absolutely. And if you do, remember the other chat that we kind of have that's kind of sneaky that people don't realize is the Spiro.media website. It has a chat and that actually goes into Lovey, my support person who's on our call right now. You just can't see her. And I also see those too. So I can communicate with you in that chat and you can say, hey, Lovey, can you get Shannon and help?
Shan, we gave away a lot of good secrets on this one.
I know. Okay, and this is going to get posted. So just know that you guys got to hear it first.
Yeah, you guys got it first.
Kind of a benefit of being in these classes is that Todd and I get so excited we can't help ourselves. And we really are excited, guys. We spent an hour on our customer service call today with our team, and we normally only spend like 30 minutes. And we could have spent another half an hour probably, Todd, if you didn't have back-to-back meetings. Todd is probably starving and needs to go to the restroom.
No, I actually don't. I have basketball practice soon, but
yeah. So, but we truly appreciate you all, and your feedback is what helps us make changes. And these changes that we're releasing next week, hopefully, or the week after, are going to impact your business in such a positive way. And then April's going to make them better. So we're just pumped. Our goal again is to help you grow, because when you grow, we grow and we make money. And that's a great relationship. So we mean it when we say reach out. It's no trouble. Just give us a little bit of time, because we do love to help all of you.
Yeah. Great. Hey, good to see you all. It was fun. We'll do it again.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
See ya. Bye.